Today, we're diving into a mythological horror story from the Indian subcontinent. It's a really chilling tale about the terrifying consequences of forbidden knowledge and a kind of hunger that can never, ever be satisfied.
And this quote, it just sets the stage perfectly for our modern protagonist, Nikhil. See, he wasn't just dabbling. Oh no, he was the second kind of person, the one who made the dark arts his entire life, all because he was searching for a power that could kill someone from the inside out. Okay, so let's get into it. Picture this. We meet Nikhil on a rooftop, and he's surrounded by all these flickering candles and ancient texts. This guy is completely consumed by his obsession. And one night, his search leads him to this one specific black-bound book, a book that almost seems to be calling out to him. On the cover, in these faded letters, are the names Atapi and Vatapi. But Nikhil realizes pretty fast, this isn't just some story about two demons. Nope, it's a manual. It's a how-to guide for a terrifying kind of magic, a knowledge that literally turns the simple act of eating into a deadly weapon. So, to really understand the horrifying power that Nikhil has just stumbled upon, we have to rewind and go way back to the original legend. The book tells this ancient story of two demon brothers, Atapi and Vatapi, who had perfected this uniquely gruesome way of killing people. So here's how their horrifying little ritual worked. Atapi, who was the master of these dark mantras, would transform his brother Vatapi into a goat. Then they'd invite some poor, unsuspecting traveler in and serve them the meat. After the meal, Atapi would just say the word, and his brother would violently tear his way right out of the victim's stomach. It was this perfect, gruesome crime that left them with all the traveler's money.
And for years, nobody could stop them. Their reign of terror just went on and on. But, this vicious cycle had to end sometime. And it did. The day they made the mistake of inviting the powerful sage Maharishi Agastya. They just saw him as another victim, a big prize. They had absolutely no idea who they were messing with.
So, after calmly finishing the entire meal, Maharishi Agastya just closes his eyes. Atapi shouts for his brother to come out, but nothing happens. And then, the sage opens his eyes, and with this incredible divine power in his voice, he says those simple words you see right there, instantly digesting the demon Vatapi and ending his evil for good.
But here's the thing. For Nikhil, this ancient story wasn't some cautionary tale. To him, it was an instruction manual. He flips the page and finds a new chapter in the book, one that adapts this ancient evil for the modern world. This new form is called Sukshma Vatapi, which basically means the subtle Vatapi. It's like the 2.0 version, It's streamlined. You don't need to transform your demon brother into a goat anymore. All it takes is a hungry person and just a tiny pinch of this special black powder mixed into their food. And you can really see how the evil evolved. The lure isn't a private ashram anymore. It's a public temple offering free food. The medium isn't a demon in disguise. It's a simple dish of khichdi with some powder in it. And the result? It's not a quick, explosive death. No, this is way worse. It's a slow, agonizing death from some invisible pressure that tears you apart from the inside. So of course Nikhil starts his experiments. He pretends to be this charitable guy, handing out tainted temple food to the hungry. And pretty soon, people start dying. Doctors are completely baffled. They can only describe it as this massive, unexplainable internal force. There are no wounds, no poison, just a body that seems to have destroyed itself. But just like in the old myth, you know how these stories go. When a dark power starts to rise, a force of light always seems to emerge to meet it. A quiet, unassuming man starts to recognize the pattern of this ancient evil making a comeback. People call him Muni August. He's not some famous sage, just a simple man with this deep sense of peace about him. And when he sees one of the victims, he doesn't see a medical mystery. He senses a dark, ancient energy, a hunger that kills from within. He knows this story. Meanwhile, Nikhil is high on his own success, and his ambition is just spiraling out of control. He's not satisfied with picking people off one by one anymore. No, he plans his biggest act yet, to poison an entire bus full of pilgrims, creating a massive feast for his dark power. And as the pilgrims eat the tainted food, the true horror of Sukshma Vatapi is unleashed.
This isn't just about individual attacks anymore. A collective demonic entity starts to form out of black smoke, seeping from the victim's mouth. It gathers above them into this single monstrous shape, connected to every single person by these ghostly tendrils, feeding on all of them at once.
And then, suddenly, Muni August appears, standing right in the middle of the road, forcing the bus to a screeching halt. He looks right past all the terrified passengers, and his gaze locks directly onto Nikhil. He knows exactly who's responsible and what dark power is at work. The final showdown has begun. In this absolutely breathtaking act of self-sacrifice, Muni August begins a ritual. He declares that he will absorb the entity himself. He literally invites the collective demon, this hunger that's consuming the passengers, to leave their bodies and enter his own.
And just like that, history repeats itself. As this monstrous entity is drawn into his body, Muni August is struggling against its immense power, but his will is absolute. He looks at this formless evil inside him and speaks the exact same powerful, ancient words his namesake used centuries ago. Vatapi, be digested.
And as the demonic entity dissolves, destroyed for a second time, Nikhil just screams and collapses. See, in his lust for power, he had tied his own soul to the magic. So when the demon was destroyed, that tether snapped, and his own life force was consumed by the very hunger he had tried to unleash. So, after all that, what are we left with? What's the takeaway from this terrifying story? Well, beyond all the horror, it really leaves us with this haunting question about the nature of hunger, and not just for food, but for knowledge and for power. It really forces you to ask this chilling question. Did Nikhil ever truly control this power? Or was he just the first person the magic started to eat? Maybe the dark knowledge itself has its own hunger, and it just used Nikhil's ambition as a way to feed. And in the end, the source of all this evil, the ancient book itself, gives us the final terrifying takeaway. The story ends as the book's pages turn all by themselves, and a new phrase appears on that very last page, a simple and eternal truth: hunger never truly dies.